So again, welcome to the Women Who Code Python track, the Beginner Python Study Group special speaker event, which is Ahmad will be talking about it. So in case this is the first time you're joining, welcome. We have done a series of beginner Python training, like exercise and coding and basic structures last year. If you want to join, if you want to review it, it's all available on the Women Who Code YouTube channel. If you're returnee coming back, if you have fun with our event last year and you coming here again, welcome back. Love to have you guys here. Excited to have you guys back. So before we begin, let me introduce the Women Who Code Python track as usual. Okay, before that, just want to reintroduce our team first. So I'm Karen. I'm one of the Women Who Code Python track lead, and I was one of the instructor. I was one of the presenters for the women for the Python Beginner Python Study Group. Rashika, you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rashika. I was another instructor for the study group, and I'm also a lead for the track. And it was a wonderful experience working with the team, and I'm glad we can close out the series with this session today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm an evangelist with Women Who Code Python, and I was co-organizer for this awesome study group. And thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Stephanie and Rashika. So Women Who Code's mission is to inspire women to excel in technology careers. We have a vision where a world is where we will have a women as representative as technical executives, founders, venture capitals, board members, and software engineers. Our target is engineers with
Karen?
2 or more.
Karen, you're not sharing your screen at the moment.
Oh, give me 1 second. Interesting. Is this working?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay,
good. You might, it's on the, yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, our target is for engineers with 2 or more years experience looking for support and resources to strengthen their influence and level up in their careers. We do take our code of conduct very seriously, as we do not tolerate any verbal violence. So if you want to check it out, feel free to go to the website and read it in detail. A little bit statistics about Women Who Code in general. We have 230,000 members across the globe. We have 70 networks and 20 countries, member in almost 100 countries. We have hosted over 10,000 events. We have over 1,000 daily conference tickets, over 2 million scholarships, and we have also access to jobs and resources and infinite connections. As for our movement, as the world changes, we can become a connecting force that creates a sense of belonging while the world is being asked to isolate. So if you enjoy our event, we have a lot of exciting event coming up. We will have the second series of the database with Python. And then we will, at the end, we'll tell you guys we have another very exciting series coming up for Python programming language as well. So feel free to join it. If you haven't signed up yet, go sign up now. I mean, after the event. So if you haven't joined it in social media, remember to join it as well. Stay tuned with us. We will post the latest update, latest news for you, and latest event for you. So you make sure you follow us. So go to the main event today. So we have Ahmad Mahmoud. who's a drilling real-time data engineer at Schlumberger. He is located in UAE, Abu Dhabi, UAE. He's actually my colleague back in the college graduate program. So welcome, Ahmad. We will switch to you and
Hi.
talk.
Hello.
Do you want me to stop sharing the screen?
No, you can keep sharing it as I go through the slides because.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here and to talk to you about how Python helps me in my job and how I got interested in Python and how I use it almost every day. And it's really a pleasure to be here. Like I said, thank you so much to the organizers of this event for having me, Stephanie, Ashika, and of course, Karen. Such an amazing drive, Women Who Code. It's really interesting, and that's why again I'm honored to be here, and hopefully I can share some light onto how I apply Python and how I apply general programming to my job, and a perspective on how I was able to learn it as I go throughout my job, because I didn't graduate from any kind of computer science background, and I was a beginner. I still consider myself as a beginner. So yeah, thank you so much. I am a drilling real-time data engineer at Schlumberger in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. And we are a oil services company based out of Abu Dhabi. So all the drilling operations for oil and gas, we service companies who own the fields. So I'm going to start with my slides. And hopefully at the end, we can have some time for questions and answer and maybe a discussion. All right, so about me, a little bit about background about me. So since I was a young boy, I was always interested in engineering and computers. And I've always wanted to know how things work and how things operate and why things work the way they are. So I went to school and graduated from university with a degree in geology. And then I went to graduated from postgraduate studies in GIS along with Karen, as she mentioned. And it involved a little bit, that's where my interest for coding began and really kicked off. We were tasked using, one more up. Yeah, there we are. Perfect, thanks, Karen. Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't share my screen because I'm using it on my phone and my laptop. It's not working properly. So, I graduated with a GIS and geomatics degree, and this helped me understand how coding is applied into the environmental field, into the resource management field. So, and then I got tired and I started working for Schlumberger in Abu Dhabi. And I was able to understand exactly how I can use Python and programming to make my job a little bit easier and a little bit more, I can automate a lot of tasks that require a lot of reading text files, reading Excel files and that stuff. So I'm going to go into that a little bit. So what I exactly do at my job is we are real-time drilling. So whenever the drilling rig is active, we aggregate data, surface parameters and subsurface parameters, and we use those data sets to visualize and optimize the operation in real time to present to the client so they can make decisions. So we use Python. I use Python to automate a lot of tasks that involve converting between files, reading through files, and cleaning up data sets. So Python, I use it to do real-time calculations. So I take some of the surface parameters and then I output different parameters based on the inputs that I get. So I develop new from the data that I have, I make new data. That's kind of what it is. So visualizing and aggregation is what's done in the field, and then at the office where we work is where we understand the data and process it. So we use scripts mostly, and we like mostly in my job, I mostly convert, parse, and look into Excel files and data sets, large data sets, and to be able to understand data from it. So, and then usually we have to convert those into XML, and XML is the code and is the language that we use, or the format that we use to visualize the data to the client. So how to understand my data, that's the question that I faced when I first got hired. And since the data sets are massive and they're coming in at every couple of feet, you have new data sets coming in. So there's not enough time to like inspect and look at it. And since it's a real-time operation, so decisions need to be made. So Python helps us understand what happened in the past and how we can predict the future in the operations. So we now can discuss amongst ourselves as a team and how we can progress. We can see how we did last time we drilled a certain well compared to the next time, given the same geological parameters and the same surface parameters. So visualization obviously is crucial. So we use Python to be able to showcase the performance of the drilling operation, and this is where we implement certain KPIs to be able to present to the client to tell them how they're doing. So my job helps me connect high frequency and low frequency data. High frequency data is the data that we get in real time, and low frequency data is the data that usually they have like certain expectations. So they would say that this is going to take us an hour to do based on these parameters, and then we actually give them the real time. Okay, it took you actually longer. So that's where we use Python to be able to make the relationships and develop KPIs for the client. And why we use Python, or why I use Python, is because I have no background in coding, and it's what I was exposed to in university and in school, and it's easy to understand since it's a high-level language. So the syntax is easy, and especially for me as somebody who is just like trying to learn. And in the end, my job is not to develop any programs or anything like that. It's just to get the job done. So Python is easy for me to read, and it's easy for me to get what I want like out of it. And the syntax is also easy to read and understandable. So, and also Python has a lot of built-in libraries, so you don't have to like start from the ground up. You can just use a library that's built in and just make your own calculation or your own specific outcome that you would like by using preset libraries, unlike other languages who don't have libraries. So that was available for us, and it made it easy to decide on Python, since our proprietary program actually has an extension that is able to understand Python coding. So that way, when we write a script, it implements easily to our program. And in many industries, actually, many like other jobs and industry, proprietary software has the ability to implement Python code. So that's a choice for why a lot of people, or a lot of people who work in the field, want to use Python. So I didn't need to be a programmer to be hired. I didn't need to have any extensive computer science background, but I needed to know how to get the answers that I wanted to get from what I want with Python. So if I wanted to take a data set and clean it up, or organize the data set or database, then I needed to know how to do that using Python. And I pretty much learned on the go as I went through the job by using previous scripts and going online, going to like Google, going to like Reddit, going to like, many YouTube videos and stuff like that, and learning how to use certain functions and certain scripts. So next slide, how has Python helped me? So integrating Python into the larger workflow to calculate new parameters while drilling in real time. So that basically is what I said earlier, where I take certain parameters, like say, for example, hole depth, bed depth, and rate of penetration. I take those parameters, and then I want to calculate, let's say, like how much energy am I spending? So I just implement the equation, and I ask Python to take these parameters as input and then give me the output as energy. And that energy curve, I can plot it and show the client that this is how you're performing. It's a very easy, simple script. So, and once I am able to understand my data by using Python and cleaning it up, then I'm able to calculate new parameters and then visualize it, obviously using XML. And I use actually XML help, like XML are pretty much tags. It's like HTML. So we take those Python data sets that have been created, like the new data sets, and we add tags to them, and then we visualize them on the larger scale kind of thing, and then show it to the client. So what, like a specific example that I got into where I needed to use Python and I had to learn it was when I was given a CSV file that contained like hundreds of data sets, and I didn't know where to start. So I tried to parse it into different databases. Different data frames, and then in that I'm able to understand. Okay, this is like, for example, in my case, I needed to know what's like. We do surveys, so we survey every couple of feet. We survey where we are in Earth, like subsurface. So there are multiple parameters. So I take all those parameters, I add the XML tags, and I'm able to visualize it, and then I'm able to see the data even better than looking at it as numbers. So also we use Python. I was able to use Python to create real-time automatic data monitors and alarms. So I can set a alarm saying that if I reach this kind of mechanical energy that I need to stop, or I can set an alarm that beeps to tell the person who's actively drilling that, okay, you're reaching the threshold of your tools, so you might want to change some parameters. So it's very interesting stuff. So I'm going to show an example of a real-time calculation. So in this example, if you can go to the next slide. Yep, thank you. So the DOC, the depth of cut, how big my cut is into the earth every time my drill bit rotates, is calculated in the following equation, which is the rate of penetration divided by the RPM times 60, and then by 12. And then that value that I output, because I'm getting the ROP from the sensor, so I'm able to use Python to develop that equation into it and integrate a new script and be able to tell the person that's drilling, this is the model for your depth of cut. Same thing with the MSC, mechanical specific energy on the surface. It's just an equation. I have torque coming in from the real-time high frequency data, and I have RPM coming in from the actual real-time surface data from the rig itself. So I'm connected, like, I don't know, like we're connected directly to the rig, and we aggregate all those data in real time, unprocessed. So torque, RPM, all these things, weight on bit. So we take the torque, RPM, and the weight on bit value, how much, and ROP, how much, and then we ask the user to input what size drill bit they're using, and then we're able to calculate the mechanical specific energy. This basically tells the driller or the person who's drilling that this is the threshold, that like you're being efficient by having lower energy. So if you're spending lower energy but traveling further in the earth, your tools are doing good and you're going to be able to achieve a better performance. So it's all about performance, because in the end it goes back to costs. And then same thing with the other equation, mechanical specific energy effective and mechanical specific energy modified. So same value, same concept. Basically, every time somebody is asking for a different kind of equation, I can take my original script and just change the equation, put it in a loop, and then run it. So I'm going to show an example of what it looks like on my software that I use day to day. It's very easy. I don't have to like know very detailed Python or very detailed knowledge. I just have to know how the script works, or how certain functions work, like a loop or things like that. So this is the layout of how it works. So as you can see here in the green here, our program automatically, you can just tell it, okay, this is variable, and this type of variable is this type of data set. So I'm able to tell it, okay, my block position, for example, or rate of penetration is a variable, and this is the descriptor of it. And okay, so what kind of sensors are we using? So they're pretty much just normal, like whatever the actual drilling rig is drilling, whatever they're calculating, like whatever the person who's actually drilling, we're connected to their laptop. So whatever sensors they're using, they output a standard of data sets. It's called WITS, well site data set, specific type. So that's where we are able to understand, okay, this is what the values are. And then on my software, I'm able to say, okay, the unit is, let's say, feet, and the value is, like, I can give it a descriptor. So it's very easy. And then it automatically, my software gives me the tags, the syntax for it. So I don't have to write the syntax. You're welcome. And I just have to do the loop here. So I just have to do a loop and then some statements and just run it. That's it. And when it runs, on the next slide, you can see the actual full workflow that I use to be able to calculate many different things. I'm able to predict my efficiency. I'm able to predict my friction factor, how much friction I have. I'm able even to predict the pressure, the hydraulics inside the operation. All this is modeled, actually. Like, obviously, it's all modeled data, so it's based on real time, and then we model, like, this is what the expectation is. And as you can see there, once my Python script has been done, I can use it as an actual standalone item and be able to input in it, like, certain things that I asked for my equation. Like, I need, for example, a certain variable from somewhere else. So I'm able to bring that in using that arrow, and then that arrow, the output on the other side, goes into another equation. So that's how the integrates into the whole workflow in my day-to-day job. So anytime I need to, like, understand data or anything, I just go in and write a quick script, and then I give it the input parameters, see the output, plot it, and then understand quickly. So I don't need to develop a program or something from A to Z. Like, it's quick process. So I always thought Python, you need, like, or any programming, that you need to have, like, extensive knowledge on how to write software and, like, all that stuff. But obviously, if I'm able to do it, then it means it's easy. So moving on, along with what we use, actually, we, because of the flexibility of Python, we have users requesting, for example, a user would request to see how much water saturation is happening. So it means that the program you use, yeah, so the program we use, we can go back and I can, like, use it on a different variables and different scenarios. Like, it doesn't have to be that specific scenario. So I'm developing that workflow. So every time I need the script to do something else, I just go back and rewrite it or do a new one. And obviously, like, as you can see there, this is version 19 that I'm using, because every time I use it, I discover that I have an error or something's off. So I just review it and, like, make changes and update. And then we all work as a team as well. So it's not just myself. I have other people who bring another kind of outlook into it if I'm, like, missing something, or if I'm not getting the proper output, so they can, like, we all collaborate. So that's what I'm saying about it. So yeah, so what's next? So we learn, like, we can understand, like, there is a lot of potential for Python with specifically with real-time application. Yeah, of course, no problem, anytime. And so Python, like, what I would like to get more out of Python now, since I know exactly, like, I can use it day to day. I want to know how it can expand predictive analysis, how I can find it easy, how I can find Python, like, how I can use it to make my job even easier. There's a lot of tasks that I need to automate, that I'm working on automating, to be able to, like, free myself up to, like, look at analysis and look at different data set, like, understand operations more than scripting and that stuff. So I'd like to, like, understand about that. So there's always a lot of room to learn in Python. And so my advice to anybody who's trying to learn, or anybody who's thinking how Python can apply into any specific field, not just what I'm doing. So I struggled with it. I read books. The best thing I found that helped me was learning through seeing YouTube videos, and specifically learning to see a constructed script and see how it works. So I try to, like, go into it and try to, like, delete things or change things and see how the output changes. And then I can understand, okay, this is how this function works. And then I kind of reverse engineer a script to be able to learn how it works and then modify it to make it better or make my own. So it's a lot of trial and error. Stack Overflow and many other forums, very, very helpful. Just keep going at it is what helped me, and I still am developing my skills in Python and specifically thinking like if you have the thought of logic thinking, like programming thinking, then learning Python is one aspect. You can go on and learn other languages. They all pretty much work the same way if you have the logic down. So deep understanding on domain knowledge and familiarizing data structures are far more important than mastering Python. So that basically trying to say that Python is not the end goal for me. I'm not a programmer. My job is not a programmer or a program developer. So I don't have to make scripts that look good or programs that work good for an end user. I'm using it for my own to be able to give outputs to the client, to my clients. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. Sometimes it's not as efficient as it can be. Sometimes it's, things are not in order, but that's what's beautiful about coding. It's not only one way, you can do it multiple ways. And then when you become better at it, okay, I gotta once I do it this, I have to do it this way. It's more efficient. So, there's no kind of no ceiling to expanding in your knowledge on programming. And yeah, thank you so much for having me again. Can take some questions now. I know I explained a lot of technical things about my job, so I don't know if people are confused or if anybody wants any clarification. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ahmad, for the brief, for the detailed introduction on your job and how you use Python. The reason I'm bringing Ahmad as a speaker because we literally learned Python from nothing 3 years ago, and now we both, ironically, doing we rely on Python a lot on our daily jobs. So we want to show you guys, if you get learning Python and new to Python or new to programming is not something it's not it's something you will be overcoming eventually. You just have to keep trying and keep trying, trial and error, the last slide mentioned. So if you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about, you're not sure, I'm not, and myself as a beginner of the Python, we can share some tips or tricks and hopefully can answer you guys' question, and hopefully you guys never give up on learning Python. There's a question. Nancy has a question for you. Do you have any advice for teachers to encourage students to learn Python?
Yes. It's all about getting the interest. So if you can showcase how a specific script or even a simple printing out something or showing that, okay, I take a file, I look into it, and I'm able to tell you what the average is, or remove a file, convert it to a different file, or understand data from it. That helps engagement in students specifically. So if you're able to show somebody how efficient any task can be using a simple script, not even 10 lines, I think that would be very, very very fun, and make it fun too, show how you can showcase how Python is able to understand anything you throw at it. So you can solve math equations, you can solve anything in it. So it's definitely getting the interest on an individual level on what the output is rather than the actual script. And then that might help somebody want to know how it works, if it got me to this outcome. Thank you so much for the.
Thank you. Sherry has a question. So can you describe your process of figuring out the development environment and workflow for your job?
Yes, great question. So like I said, I go into, specifically for me, in my example, I want to understand what the outcome is or what my client needs. Okay, so if they need to know, they come to me and they tell me, I want to know what my best performance was during the last year in these specific parameters, these specific variables. Okay, this type of field or this type of subsurface or this type of like, okay, we were like, obviously it's all about, for me, it's my examples are all related to my job in the oils, in the oil drilling. So a client would come up to me and tell me, okay, I want to know how efficient I was compared to how efficient I am right now. So, okay, take the last 25 different times you did the same task and compare it to what you're doing now. And then you're able to present a graph and tell them a histogram. Okay, this is what you did last time. This was your best, and you're at here now. So you're able to like visualize. So if I can understand that this is what the client wants, then I can go back and understand, okay, how to get there from what I have. So I have to reverse engineer. Okay, so to be able to get that, I need these parameters. Okay, I got those parameters. Now I have to understand how I can extract specific information from those. And it goes into the process of like back and forth. So then there's no one way to do it. So I just present that, and then they're like, okay, this is what I want. But then sometimes you present something and you're like, okay, they like, okay, this is too much. So I want you to like refine it more. So you go back and you refine your script to be able to like exclude certain parameters and stuff like that. So it's collaboration, and reverse engineering is what helped me.
Thank you. So Philip has a question, because I think you were using, you probably use Excel sheet a lot to automate. So she wants to know, oh, by the way, this is not a basic question. It took me some time to figure out too. So her question is like, can you explain how do you code Python and then like interpret like Python between Excel sheet? Because Python is definitely much easier in automating compared to VBA, Visual Basic Application, which is one of the programming language for Excel. So can you elaborate how do you interpret the Python and Excel?
If I understand the question correctly, so it's basically how I can use the Excel file to be able to extract information. Sorry, like it cut off in the beginning. I had to like reconnect, so I didn't hear the first part of the question.
Okay, so I'm going to read it. So basically, Philippa didn't know it was possible to code with Python and use it in Excel. So can you explain how to code in Python and use it in Excel?
So if I what I did was I developed a small, like for example, I'm going to bring an example. We have survey files. So survey files are big data sets, and these are XLS files. And so I take them, I use a Python code to convert it to CSV file, clean up all the like fonts, all the like specific formats, make it the basic simple data set with like, this is the parameter, this is the units, and this is the actual data values. So I take this, it's just a simple parser, like simple Python. I got it from when I was in university. I used something similar, so I developed based on that. And I take it, I parse the file, I use a pointer to be able to like determine where exactly the specific variables end and start. And then I am able to tell my Python code, okay, if you see this variable, add this tag and this tag to it. And then my code adds tags to the variable, and then it is able to relate that variable to those data values. So then when I press enter on and I select, I have to like select my file, and then I have to select, okay, these are the tags that I have. Like I have to tell it, okay, it tells me I have, it for example tells me I have, ROP or whatever. So my Python doesn't know what these mean. So I have to tell Python, okay, this means this, this means that, this means that. Okay, go ahead. Then automatically creates a new file for me that has all the tags, and then it converts it to XML, and then I can directly upload it I don't know if that answers the question, and if it does not, if it doesn't, just feel free to ask again. I don't know if I answered it.
Yeah, I have. I think you answered the question. Philippa, let us know if you want us to clarify. Like, feel free. Like, we sometimes like it takes us like a couple of times to like finally answer the question like for myself properly. I think I use Python to basically what I do. I can share a little experience. We literally just code everything in Python. They have tons of libraries available for it, like converting from script to Excel. So basically you done your script and then you kind of like convert it and then save it as Excel. And or if you want to interact it, it really dependent on the library. And then I think there are a lot of source resources you can like look at like popular libraries. So you can start from there, start looking at the popular libraries and see what kind of functions there, and you will get a hang of it. So next question. Oh, I love you guys having so much question. Go ahead, Ahmad.
Yeah, so like one question was asking like a YouTube channel to recommend, like something that helped me understand visually, like really was interesting, is CSDojo. I don't know if you know about that channel, really good channel. It really like visualizes all the.
Could you spell it?
CS and then DOJO.
Okay, I'm gonna type it.
Yeah, so yes, exactly. Yeah, so he has like examples on stacks and databases and like stuff like that. So you can like understand, like that's one of the channels. There are many different other channels. Off the top of my head, I can't think of them now, but I can share a list with Karen, and then maybe she can pass it along.
Oh, thank you. Rishika just posted on the list. I think I just share my screen because I clicked it. So yeah, so feel free to go to this channel and start learning Python more. Okay, also we have a question. So what Python library do you use that you find useful for your job?
NumPy is the most useful, and not because my data sets are all matrices, and I think like NumPy is the most powerful. It's really, really, really like so much potential, like so much things that it does that I can't even like fully understand. But NumPy is basically what I use mostly. It's fast, it's quick, and I don't have to like develop something different because NumPy has it. So that's why I would recommend looking into that if you're dealing with any kind of mathematical calculations or anything like that.
NumPy is huge. It's huge.
Yeah. Yes.
It's hard to know every function of it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, ladies, guys? Any struggles you guys have, or anything you want to share, like your learning journey, like how, because if you struggle, like we probably struggle the same thing, maybe now, or like not the past, but probably now. So feel free to like share with us and ask us questions and look for recommendations. And meanwhile, waiting for you guys more questions. So Ahmad did mention on the slide, so he needs to like the data, how data is interpreted from the from the software to the like from the machine to the software, and how he interpret it. He has to understand quite well on the how each data, how like what the data type is. So with that, we actually have something excited to promote you guys, to let you guys know. I have something nice to promote. At the beginning of, I think at the end of the February, we will have a data structure series for Python hosting by Rishika and Jasmine. It will be so they will be talking about a lot of like basic data structures like array, matrix, and then like which we will go through some technical questions on how to, like, that will commonly ask on the technical interviews, and we can practice it together and like get to know better. So stay tuned for it. The link is not up yet, but it'll be soon. So if you want to sign up immediately, right after the link is available, remember to follow us on social media. Okay, Philippa has another question. Have a great question again.
Sure.
For visualization, go ahead. I think you read their question.
Yeah, for visualization. So for my example, so when we have large data set, like I said, our software, our server that we host the aggregated data on, visualizes this data into different curves. And these curves are plotted onto like a log. I don't know if you're familiar with like, let's say a heart rate monitor machine, and the doctor that uses that has like a line that's going and then up and down, this kind of thing. We have the same thing that we visualize different parameters like, okay, my hole depth, my bit depth, my rate of penetration, my weight on bit, like the weight that's on the actual drill bit, my revolutions per minute, my torque, all these variables, many, more than 40. All these parameters, they have tags onto them, XML tags. So those XML tags, these XML tags, hello? Yes, these XML tags are attached to the variable, and then that variable points towards that data. So it's able to display it into a log form, like a line, wire line. So that wire line is what the visualized data looks like. So if you look at it in the raw form, the WITS form, the WITS ML, ML is markup language, so that's why it's XML. So we take that WITS and convert it to WITS ML. So we add that ML markup language, we add that to it, and then it becomes easy to visualize into a log format, a wireline log. That wireline log is what we use to look at the parameters in real time instead of looking at them in numbers, because that wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be possible. A program can, like Python can, or any other software can, but for a human, they need to be able to see it graphically. So that's the important aspect of Python. It's not about the technical aspect of it. It's about how it can make the job, or it can make me understand my data, how it can present it to me. So the best way to do that is for us using XML, and adding those tags makes us able to visualize it easier on a display and upload it to the server. And then anybody with a phone or with a computer connect to that server, point towards that specific, using SQL, we point to that specific well and well bore and date and time and everything. And then, okay, we're able to see the real-time operations. So hope that answers the question. Thank you very much for that question. Very nice question.
Thank you. So we will take 2 more questions. One of our attendee is struggling coming up with new projects and ideas. Any inspiration from that? Like when you want to do something, like.
Yes, just think of something that you do if you're working at a job or school or anything. Think of something that you have to do repeatedly every day. And then think of a way to make it, okay, how can I reduce the number of steps that I need to do? And then from there on, you can just develop your own like workflow. You can write it down on a piece of paper saying, okay, I have to do this, and this, and this. Okay, how can I eliminate some of these steps and incorporate it into like an automated program or an automated script? So that's, for me, that's what helps. So for me, I have to go into my job and there's a repeated tasks. Okay, I have to open this window and to log into here, and then I have to download the data, and then I have to like extract the data and convert it. So all these steps, like, you can try to eliminate. It's not about trying to do the ultimate project. Any simple project, like I first started off, one of my first projects was just like I before I even went to university, like just before actually going to grad school for programming, I had a little bit of background in C programming, so I just bought a Raspberry Pi and a bunch of sensors. I connected them together. I went online and saw the guides, and then I was able to collect wind speed, like a mini weather station is what I developed. It collects wind speed and it collects like humidity in the air, those sensors. And I was able to like make something like that was like, gives you the temperature and wind speed and stuff like that. So that's something that I was able to use as a project. But there's many other projects out there. Like you can do anything. You can do like another project that would be very interesting is something that can connect to a server or connect to the internet. And that way you can have kind of like, you can have like a server where you can connect, let's say a task is being done, and then you want to know if this task has been completed without actually having to physically go there and see. You can just have whatever you want to do, have it connect to the internet, and then have it send a signal saying yes, complete or not complete. Many different projects are out there. Definitely from the beginner to the most advanced. Like it's all out there. Just have to think of what would be fun to automate, or what would be fun to incorporate a script to.
Something fun would definitely motivate you to keep going and keep overcoming the error. That's something
Exactly.
I learned myself as well.
Yes.
Okay, we have two more questions. Sorry,
Sure.
I know there was like two more and then suddenly two more.
No, that's okay.
So how
Great
would you
questions.
recommend persuading your manager to let you spend time on a coding course when it doesn't appear directly related to your jobs, like sales?
Yeah, great question. That's an amazing question, actually. So in my job, since it's a real-time operation job, it's all about the money, it's all about the time. There's no time to like sit down and learn, or sit down and like, okay, give me this and let me work on it for a couple of hours or a couple of days or weeks and then be able to give a script. So it has to be quick. So one thing that helped me convince my manager to be able to branch out and to be able to use Python is basically telling him or showing him the efficiency that can be achieved after you are able to understand and work with scripting in Python. So for example, now we are able to take requests from clients and be able to deliver a better product when we can take the answers and we can take the questions from the client. And instead of having to go through the channels of, okay, we got to convert it to the engineering department in another country, because the company is very big. Like our company is hundreds of thousands of employees, like it's huge. So, and there's teams everywhere. So the normal chain of process would be, okay, take the request, send it over to engineering, wait a couple of months until to hear back, and then showcase to the client. But I was able to tell my manager, okay, can I take 1 hour every day out of my current job to be able to like understand how I can apply a small script into understanding our data better. So that was something that he was very appreciative of, and obviously he was very encouraging. So I think that's like the approach I would take if somebody out there is trying to, like, their job doesn't involve any programming, but they want to like use it, but their manager is kind of like not understanding. Maybe you can talk about efficiency in that sense.
I think that's a great approach. That was. I hope we answered your question as well. Hope you can find a way to like let your boss know how critical is for like to know like the automation itself is its impact on their business, and like efficiency and time management is funny. I totally agree with that. Okay. So I think that is all the questions for today. So I know one of you ladies asked about what is the great way to learn coding for kids. So I think you guys can see it on Peru as suggesting I think a software. Oh, it's a toy drone. So you can basically, I think you can control a drone using programming. So I think, yeah, that's actually a great idea. It's interactive, and you definitely need to learn how to like control it by coding. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. That's another great example.
Yes. So I think we are almost done. So again, thank you, Ahmed, for the speaker event, like speaking to us today and sharing your point of view. I hope you guys enjoy it. And great question, you guys. Love you guys' the engagement today. We had a lot of great questions, and we hope you answer you guys. So I will be putting the slides along with Ahmad's LinkedIn profile on the Women of Code, the beginner Python study group GitHub. So if you don't know or if you're not sure, follow us on Slack. Like feel free to check with on Slack as well, how to engage and how to get to the GitHub and how to join the next event. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and we will see you guys later. Bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much, everybody. And good luck, and just keep at it.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to look good.
Yes,
That's my
it doesn't
takeaway.
have to look good. As long as it
Yeah,
works,
just
don't care.
as long as it
Like,
works,
I mean,
as long as you're able to like reverse engineer a script and then it works, then there you go, you won. And small
yes.
steps. Thank you so much again.
Don't try to perfect it at the first time.
Yes, exactly.
It will drive you crazy. It will definitely drive you crazy.
No, exactly. Just go at it and make mistakes. That's how you learn. That's how I learned. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.